Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. We settled Monday above this 176.30 descending channel top. Pretty classic buy signal when you've got a descending channel top at the top of a move, especially an all-time high. Closing above it is usually your upward pivot point. Obviously, you could call it hesitation. You could certainly, question, whether or not we're going to see upward continuation in the coming days. Until we close below 176.30, I skew in that direction, certainly 192.28 in reach over the next week or two. And, assuming we continue closing above that channel top at 176.30, we hold to a 219.64 2 to 3 month target. But I do want to show you, a SPY chart. And this is a formation we've been following for months, many months. In the S&P 500, I do commodities analysis in the S&P 500 E-mini futures. I also do the daily SPY report at wickedstocks.com. We've been telling our wickedstocks.com subscribers to sell this channel top. I'm not going to give the exact number because it's just not fair to our subscribers, but I will at least make the point that, we need to see the S&P 500 launch itself into a significant long-term buy signal by closing above this channel top. But until then, this is a significant ceiling of resistance. It is really the last holdout for the broader stock market, in my opinion. If you recall, we had been showing you the last few weeks, the Triple Q, the NASDAQ 100, had a similar channel top that was only 2.5 years in process. The Triple Q did close above that structure a couple of weeks ago. And so Nvidia is a much larger component of the Triple Q than it is of the S&P 500. But nonetheless, I think you would agree with me that you cannot imagine the Triple Q, the NASDAQ 100, and Nvidia as well in sustaining a 2 to 3 month bull move up to 219.64, for instance, in Nvidia, while the S&P 500 either just sort of stalls out or even falls away. In fact, we see a case to be made that as long as we're below this channel top, that we can fall back to the February high from, obviously earlier this year over the next 2 or 3 months, maybe even lower as we continue into later year. This channel top has a channel bottom, and the markets tend to follow these kind of like magnets. I'm not saying I'm expecting the channel bottom in the low 500s, but I would say that it is attainable. We've seen similar developments in recent years. So there you have it. We need to close above the structure, and I will tell you if we do that. On Monday, I'll tell you if we do that tomorrow at the end of the week, if we actually close above the structure or at any time. I will at least tell you that we now are in lockstep S&P 500 broader market with the NASDAQ 100 and, of course, Nvidia. So back to this chart.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and Nvidia, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
Back to 176.30. It can contain selling not only through the week, but even through the month of October. Over the next week or two, 192.28. Likely over the next 2 to 3 months, 219.64. On the way up, I don't see this today, but this channel top did hold the Monday high, and we've fallen away since. It is deserving of a session containment level, can contain daily buying pressures. There's a lot of sort of minor points on the way up. One, of course, is yesterday's, that is Wednesday's high of 179.98. Just pushing above 179.98 should yield follow-through buying. I don't know about 185.71 as an intraday target, but stranger things have happened. We had an equal amount of volatility on Monday. So 185.71, if tested, can contain daily buying pressures. I think you can consider this to be kind of a 2 to 3 day swing trade, buying 176.30, selling 185.71, and 1 to 2 week swing trade, buying 176.30, selling 192.28. And if you're more of a longer term position trader where you're holding, say, maybe 210, 220 out of the money calls, well, that is what I'm showing right here. Continued daily settlements above 176.30, and we can pull out of this. So there you have it. Now, if we do happen to break or open today below 176.30, I think you should anticipate 172.07, where we can place a daily low. But I will say that if we close today back below the 176.30 formation, that this market is showing weakness. I mean, that would be just sort of a rejection of a classic buy signal that has bearish implications. And I will say, as I have been for the last few days, that if we close today or any day below the 176.30 channel top, we should see this 164.11 channel bottom within 1 to 2 weeks. So it does present a 1 to 2 week swing trade that if we close today below 176.30, you can anticipate the 164.10 channel bottom within a 1 to 2 weeks. On the way down, of course, I've already shown 172.07 as a level that can contain daily selling pressure. So these are your daily tradable levels, but of the three, 172.07, 176.30, and 185.71, 176.30 is the more significant. We closed above it Monday. It held roughly Tuesday, held roughly Wednesday, but we closed right just above it. And so here we are. But until we close below it, you have to skew to the upside. 185.71 in reach over the next 2 to 3 days, 192.28 over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and once again, 219.64 well above the market over the next 2 to 3 months. If we close over the next few days above 185.71, that is an accelerator. And quite honestly, I would probably lighten up on 192.28. So we may shift to using 185.71 as our meaningful upward continuation a point, really what I call sort of the don't look back factor. After retesting 176.30, are we going to continue falling back and retesting 176.30? The answer for me would be no. If we close above 185.71, we should then see a sustained rally as we move into October. So you could consider 185.71 an upward pivot point. And what I mean by that is if you're reluctant to bottom pick 176.30, you could buy the market. And I'm talking longer term. We're already in a 2 to 3 month buy signal above 176.30. And so if we close above 185.71, that is a secondary confirmation for anticipating this 219.64 level over the following 2 to 3 months. So I want to present 185.71 as a meaningful upward pivot point into October. A downside, if we fall apart and close not only below 176.30, but also below 172.07, that is a high volatility move, possibly by Friday, by tomorrow's close to 164.11. So yes, if we close today below 172.07, that kind of expanded volatility does allow 164.11 by Friday's close, this horizontal channel bottom able to contain selling through next week. Now, if this develops, if we test 164.11, all I'm looking for, I will play the breakout either below 164.11 as a sell signal or above this horizontal trend line as an upside buy signal, because then we're obviously in this, and this is probably a better image, we're in this kind of two-sided framework that could play out well into October. So 164.11 can contain selling pressures on a weekly, possibly monthly basis, and only if at this stage were we to close below 164.11, would I then anticipate 148.83 as a 2 to 3 week target where we could bottom out through the rest of the year. But right now, still clinging to a buy signal that was elicited on Monday above 176.30. If there's any position to be had right now, it is to the long side. And I think if we close above 185.71, you can either add to your long position or enter a long position if you've yet to. Inversely, if we close below 176.30, I see no good reason to hold a long position, and I do see then 164.10 as a 1 to 2 week target. You can play that. You can play the short side of the market below 176.30, 164.10, a 1 to 2 week target below. I hope this all made sense. I am going to leave it at that for Thursday's daily NVIDIA report. You have a great day.